Salutations, crustaceans! I'm Lobster, and today we are finally reviewing the Sterling by Music Man Ray4 SUB. Let's check this thing out. This is the Ray4 SUB from Sterling by Music Man. This is the entry-level Stingray, and regular viewers of the channel are no stranger to this bass, as I am no stranger to it either. We featured a lot, and I mean a lot, of these Ray4 SUBs on the channel, particularly as mod platforms, and I'll talk more about why we do that a little bit later. First, let's go over the features and the price. Coming in at $349 now as opposed to $299, the price has gone up. This is still a great value. You have a basswood body, maple neck with a maple fingerboard with a Yatoba fingerboard option, but alas, we have the maple one here with the black finish on the body. The tuners are meh tuners, and the electronics here, just off the bat, I'm just going to say it, I've said it before, I'll say it again, they're not great. The electronics here are not great, but that doesn't really matter, and I'll tell you why. This does nail the Stingray tone-ish. The pickups and preamp do yield a very hot signal, and the preamp controls aren't necessarily the best. I find the volume control to be a weird taper, not very usable in terms of actually dialing back the volume, and the preamp is a bit heavy-handed. However, the combo itself works nicely for the budget price point. Where this bass does excel is build quality, however. The neck and the fretwork is absolutely flawless. You can slam the action down on this bass and I'm getting no fret buzz whatsoever. It feels great, the finish is flawless as well, and it's a great mod platform. I've already done extensive videos on different mods you can do on the Ray4 SUB, including a whole pickup and preamp series. All that will be linked in the description below. But as a stock bass, this is a great beginner platform and a great entry into the Stingray family. Now let's turn this bass around real quick. And around back we see a whole lot of nothing. There's a battery compartment, the black paint, and a 6-screw neck attachment. We also see the back of our maple neck here and our kind of mediocre tuning keys, but that's it. In regards to weight, the Sterling by Music Man Ray4 SUB, as well as the Ray24, have been the most consistent basses I've ever encountered. I've owned probably over a dozen of these and modded them and done various things with them. And in that time, every single one has been within like 0.2 pounds of each other. We have 9 to 9.2 pounds. That's what I get on the bathroom scale that I use here. These are very average weighted basses. I mean, they're well balanced as well. I've never had any issues with Stingray balance, and these are no different. Again, the hardware isn't that great, and lightweight tuners and a high mass bridge could probably improve things a little bit, but out of the box for a beginner or entry level Stingray bass, this is pretty good. Now, one other thing that I have to mention that is an absolute joy is the truss rod wheel. That is on all Music Man basses, I believe, at least all modern Music Man basses. It's great because you don't have to risk damaging the finish or have to loosen and tighten the strings a bunch because the strings are in the way at the headstocks. So in my mind, this is the optimal way to adjust a truss rod. Great job. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention in regards to the pickup. Every single Ray4 SUB thus far that I've had has a 2-conductor pickup. However, people have been reporting seeing 4-conductor Ray4 SUBs on the market as of recent. I haven't opened this up yet. We totally will for a mod project in the very near future. However, I have no idea what's under here right now. And I know you guys are wondering, oh, what does this bass sound like? You guys know what you need to do. Go ahead and hit that like button so my hand will turn back to normal. Thanks. So I mentioned it before and I'm going to mention it again. This is a very spicy pickup. It is very hot, and combined with this preamp, which is kind of an amp preamp, Serviceable. We've done it before. We've swapped out this pickup and left the stock preamp, and it's been great. But alas, this combo here is just a bit too much, and we get a very, very hot signal. Let me show you. That is a bit much, so I am going to keep the volume at about maybe 50% for the majority of the review. Here's what that sounds like. That is much more manageable, so we're going to leave it at that volume level for the entirety of the review. And what you've heard thus far is with the preamp centered. We have a 2-band preamp. It is a boost and cut preamp with center detents. Now I know why they did this. Obviously, one as a cost savings measure, 2-band preamp for these kinds of basses, 3-band preamp for the premium Ray34. One thing to note is this is the exact same preamp that is featured in the Ray24. They just use a different pickup. The neck is also, I believe, exactly the same. You have the same radius, it just has a bit of a vintage tint. The bodywood is different as an Eastern mahogany, but I wouldn't call it much of an upgrade, more of a side grade. Those basses weigh exactly the same as this as well. I don't think you're getting any added benefit for the additional cost. What you do get is an improved pickup, as I mentioned, and an improved bridge. It is more akin to the USA Stingray bridges of the pre-2017 Stingrays. So it has the large side screw things versus the bridge like this or something like a Stingray Special over here. I believe the Ray24 also commands a near $200 premium from the SUB here. Is it worth it? Well, check out my review of the Ray24. That'll be linked in the review as well. So as I mentioned, 2-band preamp, we have a bass and treble control. What you've heard was everything centered thus far. Let's start by cutting everything. Here's what everything sounds at full cut. And let's start playing with the bass control first. I'm going to bring that up to center, leaving the treble cut. And here is the bass at around 50% boost, right about there. Yeah, even at 50%, with the volume at 50%, we are getting a little bit of distortion in the amp. This is, again, a very spicy combo here with the electronics. I'm going to take the bass up all the way now. Here's what that sounds like, with the volume still at 50%. If I turn the volume up all the way, which I'm not going to do, it's just going to overdrive the amp, and not a fun time. Again, a very spicy combo here. Now I'll take the bass back down to full cut, and we're going to bring the treble up to center. Next is the treble at around 50% boost. Not too harsh, and here's the treble all the way up. Okay, things are starting to get a little harsh there. Let's take that back down to center, and let's bring the bass up to center as well. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my pick. Let's see what this sounds like with a felt pick. Got my pick here, let's do this. Still working on that. And how does she slap with the EQ centered? Yes, this slaps very well. It slaps like a Stingray. I mean, it has a thinner neck. This has a 38mm nut width as opposed to the 41.3mm nut width of the USA Stingrays. So that is one thing to consider. This is more akin to like a USA Sterling. So I guess that's one more thing to add into the confusion mix. It has a Sterling neck, and it's a Sterling by Music Man, but a USA Sterling, it's different. Similar dimensions though, but... So overall, just the quality of the instrument in terms of build is excellent. In my opinion, if you have a bass that is a budget bass and you need to cut costs in order to maintain a certain profitability to continue operations, I would say you start with the electronics and the hardware, but make it standardized, and that's exactly what they did here. That's why these make excellent mod platforms. The fretwork is awesome. The necks are great to play, and in my experience, they pretty much stay put. I mean, this is again a budget instrument, so you know the occasional adjustment may be needed. Your mileage may vary depending on climate and yada yada yada, but overall, I think that these are very well built, they're balanced well, they sound pretty good out of the box, and you can really be deliberate about what you want out of this bass. You can go all sorts of routes, as you saw in my Ultimate Stingray mod guide. If you haven't seen that yet, again, that's linked down in the description below, but there's a lot of different ways you can take this, and those were the more vanilla ways. We have a very neat USA Stingray that has a 8-coil, multi-coil pickup. That's right, 8 separate coils. It's a ridiculous configuration, and that's going into a NFP filter-based preamp. That's going to be a separate video and another level of insanity entirely. Keep an eye out for that. But alas, this is our stock Ray4 SUB. One thing remains. Let's throw some drums behind this bass. So here are my final thoughts on the Ray4 SUB. I mean, what's not to say? This has been one of my go-to mod platforms for the last nearly 2 years. It's treated me well, quite well. I've ordered over a dozen of these and they've been incredibly consistent in their delivery. I've gotten them from various vendors at various times, and they've had various build dates, and they've all been incredibly consistent in the quality fretwork, the weight. I mean, they've been exactly between 9 pounds and 9.2 pounds every time. The hardware is also consistent. It's not the best, but it's consistent and you know what you're getting. There's also great replacements available from Albridge, I believe, is the only company that makes real Music Man style basses, and I really like installing those in my SUB projects. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, I just really like the bridges. Electronics wise, this bass is an absolute blank canvas. Out of the box, again, the electronics are not great. They're serviceable, it's gonna sound like a Stingray, but you can definitely take this a step further with some mods. But also out of the box, it's quite serviceable. You have a simple 2-band preamp with a volume control. The volume control, though, again, is not super effective, and leaving it at 50% was actually very helpful from just making an overdriven mess. But alas, they're serviceable enough to get you going. Then if you want to start to upgrade to a better Stingray, you don't really need to. You can pop in a new pickup in here, just the pickup for starters, about $100 or so, and you will have yourself a bass that sounds much closer to a USA Stingray and will basically make you a brand new instrument almost. I mean, that was my personal experience when swapping in the, I believe it was the Aguilar pickup with the stock preamp. It transformed the instrument and made it like way better. Again, not sponsored by any of them. This is just my personal experience. That video's linked in the pile of videos down below. But alas, this is a great mod platform, a great beginner's bass. Mediocre electronics and hardware, but that's the best place to kind of skimp when it comes to a beginner bass. You want good bones, you want a nice neck that is going to be reliable, you want good fretwork that is going to make each note ring clear, and you want a nice balanced build. You want a body that's not super lightweight where the neck is just going to guillotine down. You want just a quality built instrument, and that's what this is. So take the hardware for what it is. You can always upgrade hardware, but when it comes to doing that versus upgrading to a USA Stingray, I mean, you're going to save a lot of money just upgrading an SUB. So what am I going to rate the Ray4 SUB from Sterling by Music Man? I'm going to rate this bass 4 claws out of 5. It has what counts, and it has the price tag to make it extremely competitive for both a beginner bass as well as just a beginner mod platform, even an experienced mod platform. This is one of my favorite basses to mod because you can take it in so many directions and you don't have to worry about wrecking up an expensive USA Stingray. You can get the same results. This is truly a bass for the people. Now, of course, we are going to be modding this thing. We are going to be taking this particular one in a very crazy direction. Be sure to subscribe to the channel because we got some good stuff coming your way, and we got a little... So be sure to subscribe to the channel because we already got a lot of good stuff coming your way, and we have a lot of great stuff to keep you occupied in the meantime. So be sure to subscribe, be sure to hit that like button, and let me know what you think about the Ray4 SUB in the description below. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like, subscribe, join our Discord channel, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the Sterling by Music Man Ray4 SUB. And as always, until we groove again,